Right, then I'm coming to you live from Dubai from Indian team's practice session, which is happening right behind me in the ground that you can see. They did the nets behind those blue barricades, and then this is where they do the fielding drill. This ground has suddenly become very famous because this is where you saw Virat Kohli yesterday wearing that high altitude mask and training. This was right here behind me. So let me fill you in as to what has happened today and what would be India's likely playing 11 and what is it that Rahul Dravid said in the press conference a day before India-Pakistan. But let's start with the practice. It was an optional training session. A few fans also turned up to watch their favorite cricketers, but they were left disappointed because not all the top guns came to practice. It was optional, so no Rohit Sharma, no Virat Kohli, no Suryakumar Yadav, Hardik Pandya, Yuzi Chahal, Ravichandran Ashwin. These guys weren't there, but the ones who came were Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. You had KL Rahul, Rishabh Pant. So some of the players who came out to practice alongside Deepak Chahar and all other who are not part of the playing 11. So those are the guys who've turned up for practice. But Rahul Dravid addressed the media ahead of that big India-Pakistan game, and a few things that he focused on, and I'll give you all the lowdown on that. One, he spoke about Ravi Jadeja. So as you know, Ravi Jadeja ruled out of the Asia Cup because of the knee surgery, but in news coming in, it is said that he might go for a knee surgery, which means that he may miss out on the T20 World Cup also. That's the latest report that has emerged from India. Rahul Dravid was asked about that, and he said that he doesn't want to jump the gun and rule Ravindra Jadeja out right now. He said there is still time. There is still about 6 to 8 weeks left for the T20 World Cup, and he still thinks there's considerable amount of time for Jadeja to return, because Dravid mentioned for the Indian team, Ravindra Jadeja is very crucial. He said he's a very crucial cog in the wheel for our team, and they would want him to be fit and available, and they would want to wait for as long as possible to ensure that he can be part of the team that goes to Australia, unless of course if he goes through the surgery and is not available, that's another thing, but they would want him to be there. So that's the first thing that he spoke about Jadeja. Then he was asked about team combination and various things on that. And the first thing that Rahul Dravid pointed out was that he said that I'm hearing a lot of people talk about experimentation. He said, I don't understand where these talks are coming from, that the Indian team is experimenting a lot. He said that we have about that same pool of 18-19 players that we are rotating, and we're continuing to play with them. So where are we experimenting? It's not that we are just calling anybody to play. And then he said the only experimentation that even happens around 11 or the 15 is based on if a player is asked for rest or if someone is injured. He said those are things beyond your control, and in those situations, in those times, you will see some experimentation. But by and large, if you take a look at for the entire team or how they've been playing or managing the workload, he says more often than not we've got the same team. So he says we are not experimenting. I don't know where that talk comes from. That is what Rahul Dravid said. On workload management, he said that we're managing the workload very well, but don't think that this Asia Cup is about workload management. We're not managing the workload because this is an important tournament for us, and in this tournament we've come here to win. We've not come here to try players. Yes, T20 World Cup is important, we want to do well, but we also want to win the Asia Cup. So by and large, the teams that you see in the playing 11, according to Rahul Dravid, are full strength Indian teams. They are not managing the workload. If at all you see a few changes, then that's based on combination or the opposition or the conditions. So they're not managing the workload. That is what Rahul Dravid made very clear. He was asked about Virat Kohli as to what is it that he's been talking to Virat about. In fact, and I can confirm that Virat and Rahul Dravid have been seen quite often talking to each other, whether it is at the team hotel, whether it's at the breakfast table, whether it is at the practice session in the nets. Virat and Rahul Dravid have been spending a lot of time together. So Rahul Dravid was asked as to if he can throw some light on that, as to what are they talking about. And Rahul said that, first and foremost, I'm not going to reveal the conversation that a coach has with a player. But then he said that, a lot of our conversation is regarding casual conversation also. He says sometimes it's as simple as I'm asking him which restaurants to eat at, because he knows too many restaurants in and around Dubai, and he advises me. So he said sometimes it's very casual, but of course they have a lot of cricket conversations as well. And he said that people asking about his form and all, I just want them to hold their horses. You got to realize that he's coming out of a break, a month and a half, and he said it's not easy to get into your groove right from the word go. Look at KL Rahul as well. So he said he's seeing improvement in Virat Kohli, and he said have patience with him. He's getting better, and he has full faith that he's going to be in full flight very soon. So that was a endorsement, a support that came from coach Rahul Dravid towards Virat Kohli. Then he was asked a lot of questions about India-Pakistan encounter. One of them was that he was asked that listen, the Pakistan bowling is really good, it's looking very good, so what do you have to say about it? He said yes, the Pakistan bowling is good, but our bowling is good too. He said just look at that match. We restricted them for a below par total, and that is based on our bowling. So yes, sometimes things like 140 on the speed gun may look very exciting, but at the end of the day what matters is the result, and who won? The Indian team won. So he said yes, Pakistan bowling is good, but the Indian bowling is no less. That is what Rahul Dravid had to say about India's bowling. Then he was asked that a lot of matches between India and Pakistan in the recent past, does that take pressure off the players? He said no, India, Pakistan, there will always be pressure, you cannot deny it. But we also know that it's not the end of the world. Win or lose, whatever happens in India-Pakistan game, we will have to play Sri Lanka in the next game. So things carry on, you go on. It's a pressure game, but that's cricket as well. So the entire Indian team, as he mentioned, is looking forward to playing the Pakistan game. So that was another thing that he mentioned in the press conference. He was asked in particular about Naseem Shah, the bowler, saying that, Indian team was troubled by him. So have you got any plans against Naseem Shah? And he said, no, well, not really, because yes, that day Naseem had a good day, but look at our team. We've got the likes of Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, KL Rahul. They've had plenty of good days against Pakistan, and we are hopeful that one day was Naseem's day, the other day will be our day. So that was India, Pakistan, and where the team is going. And he said that he's happy with how the team is shaping out. He also mentioned about the pool that I was talking about. He said, see, we have a limited pool. He said the worst conversation or the toughest conversation I have to have is with players, and I will have to have it with them, will be the ones that will be left out in that 15. And he said it's not an easy conversation to have because they've been doing so well. So he said, I'll have to tell him, I'll have to speak to them and tell them that listen, we're not dropping you because you're not performing well. Whatever little chances you got, you performed really well, but hey, we can only fit in 15 players. And so that's a tough conversation I will have to have going forward. But he said this is pretty much the squad that you've been seeing for the last few months, pretty much the pool that we will be selecting the team from. He said, of course, Jasprit Bumrah, Harshal Patel, two names that walk in. So apart from that, this is pretty much the pool that we will go with. Now to what the playing 11 would be like. And if you ask me, there is going to be one certain change. That's because Ravi Jadeja is out, and I'm talking about the Pakistan game, not the Hong Kong game. So comparing the team from the Pakistan game, I see only one change because Ravi Jadeja is out, and most likely you will have Ravichandran Ashwin take his place. So also just to let you know, Akshar Patel hasn't arrived here. He was part of the backup but was not with the team, which is also very surprising because even Deepak Chahar was part of the backup, but he's been here. But Akshar did not travel, Shreyas did not travel. That was a bit surprising. Anyway, most likely you will get to see only one change. That is Ravichandran Ashwin comes in for Jadeja. Now for those of you asking, does then India get in Pant for DK because you will need a left-hander in the top order? I don't think the Indian team management is thinking that way. So most likely you will see the same 11 that played against Pakistan. That means DK will be there and not Pant, and that one change of Jadeja going out, Ashwin come in. So the Indian team is pretty much prepared that yes, you may not have a left-hander in the top 4, but that's all right. They may rely on someone like a Surya Kumar Yadav then to counter the leg spinner and the left-arm spinner, and he's done very well. So that's the one change that India is certain to make. The other one could be a forced change because the update from here is that Avesh Khan has been running fever for the last few days. He's not been well and he's not come out to practice as well. He's still under observation. They will wait for him on the day of the game. If he's fit, the team wants him to play. Also remember, there is no other backup for a fast bowler, and India most likely will play 3 fast bowlers plus a Hardik Pandya. You mustn't forget, in the last game versus Pakistan, fast bowlers took all your wickets. So they are not going to change the combination as to, okay, one fast bowler is not available, let's play a spinner. They want a fast bowler, and they only have 3 to choose from, and Hardik is that other all-rounder. So they will wait for Avesh Khan. If he is declared fit by the team doctor on the morning of the game, he will play. The problem comes is, if he is not fit, as I said, India may not run the risk of playing the third spinner. Then what do? The other option they have is, they've got Deepak Chair, who's been bowling in the nets, is practicing today as well. He can be drafted into the team, but for that you need to take permission from the organizers and let them know that, listen, we are including him in the 15. Once you include him in the 15, someone has to come out of the 15, and that permission has to be taken. As I come to you live right now, that hasn't happened. Now that is running a risk. Whether Indian team at the 11th hour can apply for that permission, and whether that permission will come or not, that could be a close call. But this is something that they will have to explore, or maybe even speak to the organizers right now, because you need to have that confirmation. Yes, Deepak Chair is with the team, but he needs to be approved by the organizing committee as to having come in the 15. That hasn't happened as of now. As I said, maybe they're waiting for Avesh to be 100% fit and be available. So those are the updates. That's the 11 most likely India will go in with. For Pakistan, as you know, Dasani, the one who hit a few lusty blows, a fast bowler, has been ruled out because of a side strain. So they have Hasnain, another fast bowler. So that's, I think, a straight like-for-like replacement coming into the Pakistan team. For India, as I said, that one change that will happen, and then DK also pips Pant in the 11. Those are the latest updates that I have for you at the moment. Don't forget to subscribe to Sports Today if you haven't already. Tomorrow we'll of course have the huge build up towards the India-Pakistan game. We will also have an interview being put up very shortly on Sports Today with Harbhajan Singh, where he sets up the game, India versus Pakistan. He gives his own opinion as to who he thinks is the best replacement for Ravi Jadeja, which team is looking stronger. All that coming your way very, very shortly on Sports Today. For the moment, Nikhil Nas signing off live from Dubai. Bye.